Hi, my name's Gregory Hodges, and this is my follow-up video to my story, my experience at Dr. Joe Dispenza's week-long advanced retreat. If you didn't watch the first video, I'll put a link in the description below. This video might make more sense if you went and saw that first, and then you could come back here and watch this. If not, you could just continue on watching. But also, I'm going to continue on making videos like this, so if you like meditation stuff or you like the kind of videos I'm making, right now would be a good time to subscribe. And so, yeah. In the previous video, I didn't really talk about any of the day-to-day activities or any of the the daily agendas that were happening at the event. I figure everybody should go to the event, check it out for themselves, and not have any expectations. But I can tell you a couple other things that I experienced there at the retreat myself. The people were great, the food was good, and we continued having meditations, and they were just incredible. I was shaking when I'd sit down, I'd shake when I was laying down, I'd shake when we were walking, when we were doing walking meditations. So, and it just kept having profound experiences there for myself. And by the end of the week, we had done so much meditating together that I just felt like we were all kind of buzzing on the same frequency. And at the end of the week, this woman gets up on stage and she's talking, and as she's done, she walks down and everybody starts clapping. And but what I noticed is almost immediately there are thousands of people in the place, and they all start clapping at the same tempo, And normally, thousands of people, there's just like a roar of applause, but this was just thousands of people just clapping at the same tempo. There was no music, there was nothing, there's no one, provoked anyone to clap like that. So I really noticed it man, we're all riding on the same frequency here. We've been meditating for a while together. Also, like I said, everybody kind of becomes, you kind of feel like you become best friends with everybody there by the end of the week, even though you don't really know a whole bunch of people, but you feel like you do in a certain way. I mean, you could almost go up to just somebody and say, "Hey, man, you mind if I borrow your toothbrush?" "Yeah, man, here you go, take it. What's your name?" And that's totally cool. Like, everybody would be fine with it there. I mean, I think the people that go to these retreats probably know what I'm talking about. And so maybe you should go, and then maybe you'll know what I'm talking about. But since the retreat, a lot of things have changed for me. Some things have changed really quickly. Some things have changed very slowly. I now meditate anywhere from an hour to 3 hours a day. And it used to be, like I mentioned in the previous video, it used to be hard work for me. I couldn't do more than 10 minutes if I found reasons not to meditate. The guy cutting grass would distract me. I'd say, "See there, I can't meditate." There'd be kids playing outside. I couldn't meditate. I made up excuses why I couldn't do it. I just didn't know the benefits of it until I got to that retreat. I feel like that retreat was kind of like a boot camp. And, while I was there, you hear of a lot of people, not a lot of people, but you meet people and you hear people's stories where they have like this big traumatic experience. Like this one big traumatic experience, maybe they lost their parents, or maybe it was this or that. But I never really had like one big traumatic experience in my life when I was a kid or something like that. But once I connected with the meditation, I realized, I was going through these meditations and just all this stuff I couldn't figure out what it was. I felt like I was turning on a TV and just flipping the channels really fast before I could even tell what was on it. And once I just kind of let go of all that crap and it just came off, and I felt so much, I felt amazing afterwards. I realized that I didn't have one traumatic experience. I've had just a lot of little things that have stacked up on top of each other. That person that looked at me the wrong way, that interaction I had with that person, this confrontation I had, this experience I had, and I think that I stacked all of those on top of each other to where it did create one traumatic experience for me. It was just one big old thing. So I let go of a lot of that at that retreat. And that's when I realized that I was mentally fat. And I know that sounds funny, but that's the best way I could describe it. Before I was mentally out of shape. I mean, I work out almost every day. I'm in pretty good shape, but I don't work out. I didn't work out mentally. And before, I was mentally on the couch every day. And it was so when you stay on the couch eating potato chips, it's hard to get up and start working out and get moving and get running and doing stuff. And that's where I was. That retreat, I was able to connect with the meditation and let go of all that stuff. And once I could break through that, I realized, oh man, I feel so amazing. There's no way that I could stop after that. So now it's not hard work. It is. It's easy. I get to do it. I don't have to do it. It's something I look forward to every day. I've had so many changes that have happened. Some that I knew would change, and some things that I had no idea would change. What I've realized with meditation is that meditation knows what to do. You don't have to go in there with an agenda in the meditation. It'll show you what you need to do. It'll work on the things that you need to work on that you didn't know were there. But going back to the retreat when I unleashed all that stuff, and not really the retreat, but just there and now, even when I meditate today, I'm always just letting go of stuff from the past. And after a while, after leaving the retreat, letting all that stuff go, I started seeing parts of myself that I haven't seen in a long time. And they were the good parts of myself. They were the parts that I forgot about myself because I was covering them up with all that crap. It was kind of like seeing a friend that you haven't seen since high school, and you kind of even forgot about, but you run into them at the grocery store. You're like, oh man, what's going on? You get all excited, and it makes the rest of your day. That's kind of what happened with me. I forgot who I was in a lot of ways. It was when you have all that junk and garbage covering you up, it's tough. And holding on to that for so long, it's tough to remember who you are sometimes. But once you can let that go, you get back to really who you are. And it was a good feeling to see that. It really was. So I recommend everybody meditate. That feels this watching this video. If you're watching this video, you're probably curious, or you're already meditating. So you're already 90% of the way there. You just have to spend time doing it, and spend time getting in there and really trying to connect and go deep with it. Don't just do it for I close my eyes for 20 minutes. Just get in there. So. Anyway, I hope that makes sense. So before the retreat, I had been struggling with sleep for a long time, for several years. 9 out of 10 nights, I would say I didn't sleep well at all, and I'd wake up, I'd have brain fog, and I was miserable. I just couldn't function well throughout the day, and it was awful. I didn't like it. So about a year and a half before the retreat, I saw a doctor, and he gave me a sleep study test to take home. And I was convinced that I had sleep apnea, and my girlfriend was telling me I was snoring in bed, and I wasn't sleeping well. So I put 2 and 2 together. I said, I got sleep apnea, just got to deal with it. So we got the sleep study test back, and the doctor told me, maybe you qualify. You just barely qualify for sleep apnea, but you're kind of on the line. And he didn't want to give me a CPAP machine. He said, I think you'll be fine with that. I said, man, I'm not doing well at all, man. You got to give me a machine. You got to give me one of these masks to take home. And I convinced him to give it to me. And so for about a year and a half, I wore this mask every night religiously. I thought it was helping. It wasn't helping that much, but I was wearing it. And when I did sleep better, I've attributed it to wearing the CPAP machine. So I was dealing with that for a year and a half. I just accepted that's what I'm going to be doing. I got to the retreat, and I brought the machine with me, and we started meditating. I got caught up so much in the meditations. I get home, and I just fell asleep, and I was sleeping good. And I didn't put on the mask during that week, or the CPAP machine, I should say. And at the end of the retreat, I leave and I still just fall asleep. I forget to put on the CPAP machine. And after about a week from leaving the retreat, I was sleeping so good every night. I mean, every night. For 2 weeks, I was sleeping great. I hadn't slept like that in years. And it hit me that I didn't have sleep apnea. The doctor was right. At the retreat and those meditations that I talk about, where I just released all of that junk and that garbage, once I released it, my body had been so stressed out and anxiety ridden for so long that I just think I couldn't sleep. And once I released all of that within that retreat, I finally could get some sleep. And ever since then, I've slept well. I would say 9 out of 10 nights now I sleep well, and 1 out of 10 is just kind of all right. And I'll take that over wearing a mask every day or every night. So that's definitely one of the benefits that I got from going to the retreat. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say that I cured sleep apnea. Like I said, I don't think I had it. I just was so stressed out. My body was stressed out. As my body had so much anxiety in it that it couldn't sleep at night. So I'm great. If nothing else happened at that retreat, I'm grateful that happened. That could have just happened and I would have been fine. So I'm going to be making more of these videos. If you like meditation, or if you're struggling with meditation, and or maybe if you want to hear some more of my stories, then go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you want to follow along. I'm going to do some videos on some meditation experiences I had. One of them was I spent time in the basement of my soul. And another time I visited myself when I was a baby. And there's a bunch of others too. So subscribe, and I'll be making the videos if you're curious and checking those out. But anyway, there were some people, since I made the last video, people have asked me questions that I realized I probably didn't catch people up on, because not a lot of people have been to the retreat. But a lot of people asked me who the green hat ladies were. And I will say, just to clarify, there are people that work for Dr. Joe. They're pretty much meditation experts. So if anybody has questions at the retreat, concerns about the meditations or whatever, like I did, then you could go ask them questions. And so they would help you out with that. So that's who the green hat ladies were. And also people have asked me if I stay in touch with the guy that I met, that our brothers passed away on the same day. And I hate to brag, but I will say that now I get all my jeans at 50% off. So, and we still talk a little bit. We're not, we don't stay in touch all the time, but I go through Miami a good bit, a couple times a year. I always stop in there and say hello, and it's always good to see him. So, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one.